So good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We're still waiting on confirmation whether Linda Dixon's traveling or not, but lieu of time here, it is 25 after 10, and we're getting a little behind here on day one. So I think we should call our meeting to order and get ourselves started. If that's okay with folks in the room. Okay, so how far out? Like, should we wait or? Okay, and we have a double session today, so. Okay, so I've been instructed. We'll carry on. We'll get our meeting started here. Welcome to the National Rebuilding. The National Nation Rebuilding and the Nation Rebuilding of the three Tlingit Nations. I'm your chair. I'll be your chair today. I'm Bob McGill, and welcome for those who are engaged with us in our Whitehorse office. We have people out in the Whitehorse office. We have people joining in from the Atlin Rec Center in Atlin, BC. Welcome to the TRT citizens there. And we also have folks joining us over in Carcross as well. So welcome the other communities, and wish we could all be together in the same rooms, but we're still challenged with the COVID-19. And so today we're going to be running a double session of this presentation. Part of that is for COVID-19 and be able to have participants and accommodate people with their different schedules. So we'll have a morning session here this morning, and then we'll have another one this afternoon. And for those that have traveled down, thanks for coming down. We'll start our day here with opening prayer with Bess Cooley, and then we'll have opening remarks, and then we'll have leadership opening remarks from the three nations and the three chiefs, and then we'll also do introductions to your teams. And then we'll also introduce the Gunta team here, who's doing handling all our virtual means of this meeting. And then we're going to go through some PowerPoint presentation there about the national rebuilding. And then we'll have some community engagement there, and then citizens open forum, have some Q&A time, and then we'll have closing remarks, and then we'll break for lunch. And then we'll do another session again this afternoon. So you know, if you can get a hold of friends and family out there to join us online and join, there is video links being sent out that are sent out there, so you can join us by the Zoom, and or come on down to your respective offices. We're at the Heritage Center here in Teslin, or you can go join the folks in the Whitehorse office, or you can go over to the Atlin Rec Center and join them there. And in Carcross, they're set up in their buildings there as well. So we'll get started, and good morning, Bess. Thank you again for joining us. We'll start with an opening prayer, and then good morning, Anak Lahash. If you could use a microphone, Bess, then all the people can hear us.
Thank you, Lord, for bringing us here together. Be with us and bless us. Tomasa Ayatuka is to the own Kisahan Kawushya o the Natin you to the earth. When we are speaking, let us speak with love, kindness, and respect for each other. That is how we will be doing what we are doing well, what we are trying to do. On Hain Dynasty, Tlingit Nation, and be with all of our people, our Tlingit Nation, both here and wherever we are. Atu wuz yagi, Tanichish, Dikion Kau, Tanichish. This is what we ask of you today. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Ms. Cheese. Ms. Cheese, thank you very much for that, KFC. So I just received message that Linda Dixon will not be joining us this morning, but she's going to try to either come in person here this afternoon or join us on the Zoom meeting. So welcome again, everyone. And I'll open the floor here now to our leadership with opening remarks. Who wants to go first? Our visitors will go first there. Mr. John Ward, spokesperson for the Taku River Tlingit. Nice to see you, my friend, and welcome to Teslin. No, use those. Yeah. Yeah.
Am I getting it right so far?
There we go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all the Teslin Tlingit people for having me here. And Chantel here is with me from Taku River Tlingits. Thanks for welcoming us and treating us so good. As far as, like nation building and stuff, that's, for me, it's a little difficult thing to get my head around, I guess. Because to me, we're a nation. I mean, there's some building to do, I guess. Excuse me. Hey. Sorry about that. The wives want to make sure I made it. Anyways, I believe there's a lot of good things already going on amongst our people, visiting relatives and doing stuff together and just continuing to build on that. It seems like when it comes to try to fit into the larger world, so to speak, federal governments, regional governments and all that, we have to get ourselves organized in a way that takes a little work, a little skill, people with knowledge and education. At the same time, we can't leave our ways behind. And it's just good to see elders here. Sam. And thank you for the opening prayer. It's always good to acknowledge the good Lord and the things we do. And just when I leave here, I always leave my blessing here. My wife's from here. We don't come here enough, I guess. I know a lot. I grew up with a lot of people from Teslin and Carcross. My parents were not really outgoing type people. They were quite soft-spoken, kind, always visit. And I remember, coming here with them way back in the 50s, 60s, and same with Carcross. And there's all those good memories that just automatically, I would say, draw me here. And making new friends. And I'm also sad for, my friend Jim that left a little while ago. And some from Carcross and at home. Sometimes I feel like my world is shrinking around me. But doing this kind of work, we leave something for the next generation. I think it's mainly about how they witness. They're watching us and witnessing how we treat each other. And that's what they're going to do when it's their time. I'm glad to be a part of this. I'm glad that, you know, the way everything is being arranged, you know, to include our members abroad and, you know, and so on. And I look forward to listening and hearing what they have to say today. With that, Gunas Chish.
Wow. Ashish, thank you very much, Mr. Ward. We do have the deputy chief on the Zoom link there in Carcross there. Ms. Benoit, if we could queue up the deputy chief there for Carcross for opening remarks. Okay, we can come back if they need a moment.
Give her a minute.
Pardon me?
Give her a minute, I think. if we need.
We're just, you know, this is a pretty amazing, this technology we're using there today to link our, pretty amazing, this technology we're using here today, able to connect all our citizens from around the world, basically, so we can join in on these discussions. So Ms. Benoit is going to need a few more moments. Chief Morris, if you would like to do your opening remarks, and we'll come back to Ms. Benoit.
All right. Gunta Bobby for helping us, lead us in this work that we're doing here. I wanted to also give my say Gunta to Kaiichi for leading us in our prayer this morning. Gunta Sati, Gunta Yakehu Satini too. I want to say it's good to see you all. And Yakezu taught coach now Hatu Asau Tlingit Gena Dakh-Ka Achat. I wanted to say that my name is Eric Morse. My Tlingit name is Coach Now, and I belong to the Dakh-Ka clan of Teslin. My Tlingit name is Coach Now. It means dead wolf in English. And often I used to think about what that meant and how it relates to who I am as a person. And I know that one of our elders that has passed on now, Emma Shorty, she remembered the story of my name, but we never ever got the opportunity to sit down and to talk about it. So in some ways, I often look for an opportunity where somebody will be able to sit with me one day and tell me about what my Tlingit name means. And I know that I've been told by my mother that that what my name is about, that is that there's a big rock on a mountain, and that's what it's about, and that I'm the one that is to provide discipline. And that's kind of what she explained a little bit to me. And I thought about it for myself, and I look at the things that I do, and I think about the meaning of a dead wolf and how that means to me. And I often look at where I'm at, and if you can see where I'm sitting right at the edge of the end of this table here, but I'm also sitting next to the beginning of the other table. It's like almost like I'm in the middle. I'm the beginning, but yet I'm the end too as well. So I think about that for myself in terms of what it means to me. And so I just celebrated my 63rd birthday a few days ago, and one of the commitments I've made to myself is to be able to speak my language more. And so I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to look to you to help me to do that, and I'm going to make that commitment to myself. I think about this work that we're doing today, and I think about where we are at and all that we have done over these past decades, and always the vision that we held for ourselves of being looking at how it is that we're going to be able to come closer together to work with one another. And I think that's always been something that we've held in front of us to work towards. And it's obvious that by what we're doing today, we're still working towards that goal. and we've been able to make some achievements over that time period. You know, I think about my vision for where we are at, and I look at us as a Tlingit nation as being at some point and like being of great strength and being dependable, being healthy, being self-sufficient, and being independent of outside resources to do the things that we want to do for ourselves. And I think we're capable of being able to do that and achieve that. You know, as I mentioned, you know, I think our Tlingit language and culture is really important to all that we do. All the things that we've done over the years have been about our language, about our culture, about bringing ourselves together to celebrate the various things that we're doing, you know, and all of that. And I think is very important. I think about the significance of our songs, of our clans, the significance of our stories to our clans, the stories about our land, the stories about our history. We just had a meeting just days ago where we heard some stories about us coming into this area here in the early 1800s. And I think about that as being an important part of our history that we need to know as younger people, because those are the stories that connect us to the history that we have in this area. And I look at that as something that's really, really critical for us. And as citizens, we need to be motivated and we need to be inspired to take up action that will lead us to a place of knowing all of these things. And I think that's really, really important. We need to be strengthened with our connection to our brothers and sisters in Alaska, to Juneau, Douglas. I know that when we were meeting the other day, one of our past chiefs mentioned Juneau and Douglas as areas where we have connections to, but we also have connections to our brothers and sisters in Atlin and Carcross, and we really need to strengthen those connections. We need to know who our clan brothers and sisters are over in these communities. We need to know who they are. We need to really work to understand who they are and what their Tlingit names are so that we know and we can relate to each other in that way. We need to be able to share our knowledge and how we related to each other, as I mentioned, and we need to know who our relatives are. It's really important for us. We need to make spirituality, as Kaishi was leading us in prayer this morning. I see that spirituality is a very, very critical part of all of the things that we do. That spiritual connection that we have to the land, that we have to each other, that we have to our water, that we have to all of the things that are in existence are very, very critical. And we have to make spirituality a big part of all that we do. You know, and we need to understand ourselves first and foremost, understand who we are, understand what we are about, understand where we belong, understand where we come from. You know, we always say we think with one mind, we think of with one body, we think with one spirit. You know, what's the significance of that statement? What is the importance of that statement? It's about us being one amongst ourselves and all the things that we do. You know, as I mentioned, you know, like I grew up in a time, you might say there were tumultuous times. You know, sometimes the stories of our history were not there or told to us. So we look to our older ones that know of these stories now, that to share it with us so that we know and are aware of those stories and we can repeat it to the younger ones that are coming behind us. You know, our connections to Atlin. We hear about the mail runs that were done from Teslin to Atlin, when how people went through that trail that connects them to Atlin, the mail run that was done between there and here. Our people walking over to Carcross. You know, I think, you know what, those are the stories we really need to know and remember. And so I really want to take this opportunity to welcome everybody that's participating in this event today. You know, I think this is going to be an important stepping stone to what we set out to achieve about rebuilding our nation, looking at strengthening our nation, and doing all the things that are going to be necessary to make us stronger, eh? And so I really think that is important for us. So thank you all, Gunta to everybody for doing this. Gunta Iguakwan.
Thank you very much for that, Chief Morris. Ms. Benoit still has, we can go to opening remarks here from Carcross. Robert? you have opening in replace of Miss Benoit?
Morning,
Hi,
everybody.
sorry, Rob. Do you, I just saw that there's a message on the other platform from Mariah, if anyone would like to read that.
We're just sorting out. Okay. Still getting technical issues figured out there with Ms. Benoit. Mr. Robert Wally, any opening remarks on behalf of Ctfn? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank Teslin Tlingit Council for hosting this meeting for us. It's a very important meeting. I do believe that we need to get all the three nations together and helping each other. And I'd like to thank everyone for showing up and ready to do some work. Ms. Cheesh.
Ms. Sheesh, thank you very much. And hopefully we can get all the issues figured out by this afternoon. We also have regrets this morning from Mr. Dave Wedge, but we do have the other team members here, and I'll hand it over to them. We have Chantel and Dave Keenan here, so I'll let them do some opening remarks as well at this time. Good morning, young lady.
Good morning. Very happy to be here today. My Tlingit name is Shagaki. It means woman on the mountain watching down. The name was gifted to me by my grandmother, the late Evelyn Jack. My grandparents were Evelyn and Sylvester Jack. My mother is Yvonne Jack. And the work that we are talking about today was actually begun quite some time ago, before I was born. So it really, truly is an honor to be able to be here, to be a part of the work that is going on for our nations. I have been on the Nation Rebuilding Steering Committee, and I'm the lead negotiator for Dakh-Ka River Tlingit First Nation. My English name is Chantel, and I have advisory committee members that I'd like to introduce. We have Louise Gordon, who is also the governance manager for Ctfn, and she is in the Atlin hub. We also have Peter Kirby, who is the newest advisory committee member, and we have George Esquiro, who is our elder advisor for negotiations and also on our G2G with the province. Good Sheesh.
Sheesh. Thank you very much, Chantel. Good morning, David.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, to feel the energy, and you could feel it building as I drove up from Brooksbrook this morning. So it's really, truly a great day. My name is Dave Keenan. My Tlingit name is Yes and it has two meanings. It has the meaning within the killer whale, and it means the killer whale when he comes up out of the water and he breaches and he turns and he sides and he looks and then he slides back into the water again like that. That's Yes and when he's looking around. My Uncle Andy told me too that it also means the wolf when he's laying on the side hill and his ears are up and he's looking back and forth and around and he's looking ahead. That's what Yes and means, and that's what I feel. And I have a history to my story, my name, but it's another history that'll be shared at another time. I'd really like to introduce my team here that's here with me today, the community. I'll start with to my left. I'd like to introduce Sandy Smarts, the executive committee member that's here representing Kokatan. To his left, we have Dylan Jackson, who is the executive assistant and keeps things moving. We also have Catherine Porter sitting next to her. And Catherine's just new back into the community again in the last few years and brings a great energy to us here. We also have Elder Bess Cooley, and Bess has been with me in this journey for quite some time and pulling these proposals together. And I'd like just to offer this opportunity to Bess, if I may right now, because Bess is modeling a shirt that was designed way, way back in the very early 80s. So I'd like to turn it over to Bess, and please, sister, go ahead, Clark.
And it's pink shirt day.
all again. Yek is up the Kadiwan. Good morning, all. I'm happy to see all of you here. Yes, in Gorkwan. And thank you, David. And I offer you my encouragement and support all the time. I'm quite capable of doing this whole thing in Tlingit, but I know that we are on a short time frame, so I'll do the rest of this in English. David asked me to talk a bit about my sweatshirt. This came from our little band office up at in the village years ago. We were still talking about what we're talking about today. And there's a few of us that are still here involved that were in that little band office. So I know that there was a lot of work put into this sort of thing back then, and there's more being added now. So Ajay you go off on you Dakh-Ka to Dakh-Ka. And so that's why I am offering you my encouragement and support in the work you're carrying on here. And I would like to say thank you, especially to those people that are still here. We've managed to hang on through all these years. I can't tell you what year it was that I bought this, but anyway, it's the first time I've had it on in years, and I thought it was appropriate to wear it today. And I know there's a picture of it in one of our handouts here. And I have my daughter, Dorothy, took this picture. I thought of this sweatshirt right away, so she took the picture and sent it so we could use it here. So I'm gonna choose you Dakh-Ka Akadian sa Achi ka yung yagi yung you go one. I thank you all for listening to me, and I offer you my encouragement and support again all through the day. Hope you have a good day. I will be here just this morning, but this afternoon I have to go back by 1:30 at least, because I'm working with some people on the internet in our language. So gonna choose to go on. Thank you again, and encouragement and support to you again.
Ms. Jeez. Thank you, KOC. David?
Thank you very much, Bess. And then next to Bess is Lorraine Dewhurst, who's a citizen and working very hard in preserving our culture in the land here in the Yukon and at home. I'd also like to introduce Sam Johnson as the clan leader of the Ishkitan. We all know Sam and the presence that he brings to us. Thank you so much, Sam, for being here this afternoon. I'd like to introduce, please, Sam, would you like a few moments to welcome the delegates to our.
Thank you very much. And I'd just like to welcome Carcross and Atlin. This is very good at what this meeting's about. And it's just bringing back the way the people used to work together. Teslin, Carcross, Atlin.
They work together as one unit because we're all inland Tlingit people. Our ancestors originally from the coast. We had close connections there, but we had close connections with our own people too back here. And everything that we'd done, it was shared. Like, even with the land. A lot of people like to call it overlap, but really in true sense, it's a shared territory. That's how they used to handle it. They never had anything written on paper, but just a good agreement, how they work together. I remember even as a young person that from Atlin, George Jack spent one spring with the people in Johnsontown. George Jack and his family, and he was welcomed and he stayed there, and so everything was shared like that. And this is the way I wouldn't mind to see this whole thing come out, where Carcross, Atlin, we all work together, and anything to keep on as inland Tlingit people. Whether it's celebration or just get together as meetings, we should all try to work together as one unit. But a lot of the things too, like even the names are shared. And even the way we are, like with here in Teslin, there's 5 different clans. And over the other places too, they have. So it wasn't just born yesterday. It was there forever. The only thing before land claims, it never was put on the table. But now we would like to continue to work the way our people always work together, and to share different things, to share our good qualities, and to work with our young people to pass on all our things that has been taught to us by our elders. It's sad to say that a lot of our real elders aren't there anymore, but it's up to us to try to bring it out best we can so that everybody can be comfortable with each other again. So thank you very much for letting me speak a little bit. Cheers.
Wow. Thank you very much, Sam. And to Sam's left is Elder Ann Turner, just joining us. To my right and at the end is the Richard Sidney, Yanyeti clan leader. Would you like a few moments to address the people, sir?
Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone here. Good to hear the elders speak. I want to welcome my brothers and sisters from Natasahini, from Atlin. Excellent seeing you here this morning. We're back here again talking about issues that are really critically important to us. Look forward to the discussion today. Look forward to some direction we're going to receive. Look forward to us coming together again as one nation. Sheesh.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to introduce George Shepard from Carcross Tagish, and thank you for taking the time, George, as well as our good friend Robert Wally. I'd also like to introduce Martina Sidney, and thank you for being here, Martina. As well, Mary Bob, thank you very much for being here and representing the youth and yourselves and your community. Much appreciated. TTC is right in the process right now of selecting our advisory committee. Right now, we have appointed on an interim basis. Bess Cooley has been working with us, and Richard Sidney. But we will be making a decision as to formally appointing people to the advisory committee. So thank you very much, Bobby.
Sheesh, thank you, David. Mark's not with us this morning here, but I understand Roberta Wally, hello, Carcross. If we could get her queued up there, maybe she could offer some opening remarks.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me all right?
It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, maybe. Hi, morning.
There.
Singwa, Hisak, Jistan, Hikatusak, Kokutan, Ayahat. I'd like to say welcome everyone. Thank you TTC for hosting this event. Thank you Gunta for providing the platform. And it's nice to see everyone's face on this software, and with COVID times, it's nice to see everyone. I'm looking forward to all the good work that's going to happen at this table. And I have, my mother is from Atlin and my father is from the Tassahini, and I have quite a bit of family down at the Dakh-Ka as well. And just looking forward to this table. Hope everyone gets home safe.
Thank you very much, Roberta. So I did receive a message here from Maria Benoit. I could read that out. They're still figuring out the technical difficulties there, but Maria Benoit, I'd like to say Gunishish to best for the prayer to start our day. I'd also like to say on behalf of Carcross Tagish that we look forward to being part of the Atlin rebuilding or the nation rebuilding. And we've been working on this now for the past 10 years, but it seems like it's moving. It seems like it's moving at all, but it must be. We have this engagement event. We look forward to working together. We have Charlie James, Roberta, Georgina Lowe, and Ralph James. And that's all she could see on the camera right now. So I hope they can get the technical difficulties worked out and able to join us this afternoon. And we'll just carry on with our day here. So welcome everyone. And next we'll go to Gunta, the Gunta team there, Mr. Blair Hogan. Thank you for hosting this or working with us on this event. And I'd also like to say congratulations. I've heard you guys, the Gunta team. I've worked with them on a number of times here now, and I understand they just won a award at the Arctic Indigenous Gala that was hosted in Whitehorse, I believe. So congratulations to you and your team, and any opening remarks and introduction to your team members around the four communities.
Thank you so much for that introduction and that recognition. So we have myself, Blair Hogan, Gunta, Yuatusa, Ishkatania Sharahani Nafahashidusach. I am Little Frog in the Pond. My clan leader is Sam Johnson, sitting right beside Anne. And very happy to be here today. Wanted to also introduce, we have Jessie Stephen. She's in the back. She's managing the app, as well as anybody who's trying to phone in those moments that we can accommodate that. We have Molly Lang in the Carcross office. We have Duncan Stephen in the Whitehorse office. And we have Christine Callahoo, who's going to be helping with the facilitation online in the later part of the agenda. Just wanted to introduce the virtual hub concept. So as you see here, we're very well equipped for people to participate in this room, but we wanted to connect all of Tlingit land. So we've set up a hub in Atlin with help from some friends there. We set up Carcross and the Whitehorse office. So between all of these virtual hubs and the ability for people to participate either through the Zoom or the app, we have the ability for anybody to participate, whether you have internet, computer, regardless. We want to make sure that people feel included. And then we have the ability for people to call in to actually speak to the floor if that's what the chair calls upon, and we'll help organize that. So just want to introduce that and my team and say we're very happy to be here today, and go Dakh-Ka.
So thank you for that. And, you know, I apologize earlier. I should have introduced myself more as well, because it was interesting when we were talking about sharing names, even though we share names across our communities. And I know I share a name with my brother in Atlin, Merv Williams there, because my Tlingit name's Dayak and I am Kokatan. Some of you may know my mother, Wilma McGill, and you may know my grandmother, Carrie Jackson, the late Carrie Jackson. So it's an honor to be asked to help assist with this meeting today. I've been involved in a couple of past meetings with Dakh-Ka, and it's always fun to gather around with our brothers and sisters and to discuss things and just to share some time together. So I appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully things go well here for us today. At this point there, I'll reintroduce Chantel Schultz. She's going to walk us through our nation rebuilding PowerPoint. There is a presentation. It will be brought up on screens there for all those participants attending via the Zoom, and we'll have it broadcast here at 3 communities in Carcross, Atlin, Whitehorse, and we'll have it powered up here in Teslin. So good morning, young lady. Welcome again. And I'll just hand the mic over to you.
All right, Ganachish. So my role is to describe some of the work that we have done to date. As mentioned, I have been on the Nation Rebuilding project for a couple of years. So although we are just focusing on the most recent developments and a recent meeting that we had this year, the project proposal was actually submitted a couple of years ago, and it's taken us some time to get a team together, to get resourced, and to figure out the pathway forward. As we know, nation rebuilding is something that has historically been done and has been carried on, and colonization has interrupted that. So this initiative is a way to have the governments, and by that I mean the federal and provincial governments, help us to create a pathway forward for all of our nations, how we work together. The main premise of this is really to create a blueprint for how our nations will be working together for the generations to come, so that we can continue to provide for our future generations in a contemporary time. So on the screen here, we have a presentation, and this is focusing on today. So we'll talk about the most recent pieces. There's a quote here from Elder Jackie Williams, Yanyeti clan leader. "We gain strength in holding hands together. I remember my grandpa teaching me Tlingit names for the stars. We need to share our culture so we can treat Mother Earth the right way, be strong with one another, and balance ourselves with her. We are going through a period of confusion. The people need to walk together to grow in strength and to go forward together." So today we will be talking about the themes of focus for the project, the purpose of the project, the journey to date. We'll talk a little bit about the research that has helped us get to where we are today, and the theme of moving forward to 3=1 nation, with emphasis on how the citizens can get involved. And of course, with the energy of a canoe race as our motivation, Gook, go, a description of how we are going forward together. The themes of focus for the project. We focus on unity, working together, who we are, one language, one culture, one land. The time is now. As mentioned from other people, we have been trying to do this for decades. We've been trying to do this for quite some time. The time is now. Politically, economically, the stars are aligned, and this is our time. The theme of coming home and self-government. What does this look like for us? The quote at the bottom you'll see throughout: "As inland Tlingit people, we must have respect for others, the spirit world, and ourselves. We understand that it is our birthright, our responsibility to respectfully uphold and practice Hakustiyi, following our ancient Tlingit law, which dictates how we live with everything." The purpose of the project. So the most recent meeting on February 1st, 2021, the Executive Council of the Teslin Tlingit Council hosted a meeting with Carcross Tagish First Nation and Dakh-Ka Tlingit First Nation leaders. We came together to discuss and resolve how we will approach rebuilding our Dakh-Ka nation. The executive councils from the 3 First Nations have been working to formally bring all 3 First Nations together as one nation, one voice, the Dakh-Ka Inland Tlingit Nation. At that meeting on February 1st, we reaffirmed the importance of our Dakh-Ka mission statement, which is to reunite for all time the Dakh-Ka as one self-reliant and self-governing nation based on healthy citizens who believe and practice a strong cultural identity. This will ensure protection and the wellness of our future generations, the land, the water, and our environment. That has been brought up time and time again. So whenever we meet for nation rebuilding, our elders, our leaders, our youth, they continue to tell us that it comes back to the culture, comes back to those social connections. It comes back to protecting and preserving the language for our future generations. We hear that loud and clear. The Dakh-Ka Nation respective leaders encourage our collective focus on these areas: wildlife, boundaries, economic development, language and culture, and legislation, so joint legislation. And this is important because on that day, the leaders of the respective nations agreed to a resolution, and a resolution that we will develop a joint work plan to touch on how we're going to tackle all these different areas. So we have our work cut out for us. We know what the focal areas will be, and we will continue to strive towards bringing all that information back as we get it. This is the continuation of the work from the past number of decades, our journey together. The leadership recognized that it is key to hear from citizens about how we can work together as a nation. The importance of the 3 Tlingit nations to meaningfully engage with our citizens, to talk about how we can work together for the betterment of our respective nations, cannot be overstated. We are not intending to do this alone. We, as the Nation Rebuilding Steering Committee and Advisory Committee, are not in a position to make decisions for our citizens. We need to be informed about how we want to do that. We need to be informed, and we require input and collaboration about how we can move forward in a contemporary setting. So the journey to date, what we have learned, and the reason why we are here together right now is to make sure that we are capitalizing on the work that was done, and our elders have done a lot of work. There has been an incredible amount of work done to date over the last number of decades as our leaders and elders before us focused on Dakh-Ka nation rebuilding. I think it's been mentioned before that in one of the documents that we looked at, the Constitution was dated 1986, which is the year I was born, and I'm 34. So it's very, very meaningful to be able to continue and build on the work that was already done. And that's the reason why nation rebuilding may seem like it is not well known. This is the starting point for us in the contemporary setting, but it is work that was carried on. And so our new directions from the citizens will continue to be heard from the advisory committee, from our leaders and elders, and from us as the steering committee. We benefit from the work that was done in the past in that we are able to collect all that has been done, compile it, share and learn from it, and then build upon this amazing journey to date with you, the citizens. So we get to share all of that. Moving forward, with the project themes guiding our work, we will continue to review and capture the work done over the past decades to benefit from the work of our nation leaders and elders, both past and present. We will share with the citizens what is learned. We will listen and learn with the citizens through numerous points of engagement. So that means in-person and virtual meetings like we're doing today, social media feedback, on the land events, which I hear everybody's the most excited about, myself included, and other opportunities moving forward as guided by the citizenry. So you'll hear some suggestions from us about some of the touch points for engagement. And some of those things have come from meetings we've already had and from the historical work that has already been done. We will develop learning products that enable and support all of us gaining a better understanding as to what the Dakh-Ka nation will look like. With the energy of a canoe race as our motivation, Gook. The next project steps could include a spring beaver hunt and camp with a focus on the elders and youth. That's something we've heard quite a bit, is that on the land cultural activities with built-in opportunities for our elders to teach our youth some of these things that might have been missing. And also some of those cultural events and activities that really, really helped bind our people in the past. We hear lots of stories about our people having participated in these kinds of cultural events that shared and showed what it means to be connected to the land and how that is the glue that binds all of us together. It also helps keep our spirits well and healthy. We will be hosting other community and nation-focused activities that support collective learning and sharing about the Dakh-Ka nation. We will develop the required products and initiatives to formalize the Dakh-Ka nation as one with guidance from the citizenry. So you'll see those things coming out. Some of those products may be logos, some of those products may be videos. All of those things are designed to help provide information to the communities and our people, and also to help provide them with opportunities to engage with us. And citizen guidance is requested as to engagement. It's not just requested, it's really, really needed. So we're very happy to be able to provide those opportunities and look forward to getting more of that input. The project guides and supports the steering committee. So the steering committee project role includes bi-weekly steering committee project-related meetings. So Dave, Mark Wedge, and myself meet on a bi-weekly basis. We'll meet twice a month. Preparation in the development and execution of the community engagement sessions. So we put a lot of work into making sure that we are guiding all of the documents and products that come out of this, understanding that we're the frontline workers, we're the first point of contact for this information. We inform the leadership and citizenry about what we're doing. We lead the project communication with the advisory committee. And we are required to update the community on an ongoing basis as to the project intent, the progress, and the when, where, and how community members are able to participate. The advisory committee. The advisory committee serves as an essential purpose on the project. They support the steering committee, and they do that by attending the steering committee and advisory committee meetings to maintain an ongoing awareness and understanding regarding the project progress in order to help guide us. So they are also the frontline workers. They are the people who are engaging directly with our citizens. They are the people who are at the hubs of our communities right now. They are the people who are guiding and supporting. So for instance, for the advisory committee that is helping to support me, they were deliberately chosen because I'm one of the youngest. I don't have some of that history, and I don't have some of the important stories and knowledge that were passed down. So it's really, really essential that we have that link, not just to our communities, but also to our history and to the knowledge that helps build that foundation for how we got here today and where we are going in the future. And their job is also to update the community on an ongoing basis, the same way as the steering committee. We couldn't get to where we are without having a project coordinator. There is an immense amount of work that goes into these types of initiatives. And Lynn Gagnon is the Nation Rebuilding Project Coordinator. She's in the room here, and we would not be able to move forward without her. She is also the direct link to Gunta Project Engagement Team, so that really takes off some of the burden and the strain on the steering committee members, and we would not be in the place where we are. We would not be able to bring the information back and help collect our nations to do this very important work without those people. We are required to have a fully resourced team in order to help us as the lead negotiators and steering committee members and the advisory committee to move forward in a way that is the best way, a good way for our nations. The project coordinator is the project hub. So all aspects of the project are managed and tracked to ensure good governance, transparency, accountability, and equity. We understand very well that 3=1 nation means that no one nation is above or considered above the rest. And so Lynn helps to coordinate some of those things so things are equal and fair. The objectives for today. So we wanted to make sure that the project steering committee and advisory committee set out to share some of the current themes of focus for the project based on the short work to date. So the short contemporary and recent work, because we know that the information we presented to you today really is built upon the historical work that was already done by our elders and by our ancestors. We wanted to share with you the purpose of the project, which is nation rebuilding. And it's not just meant to be that Western concept of joint legislation, policies, internal governance. It's also meant to be those social connections, the commitment to teach and preserve our culture. And that is how we really, really connect our nations. All those other things can be done behind the sidelines, but the really important piece that ties it all together is going to be the emphasis on our cultural connections and those social connections that we have with each other. We wanted to share with you what has been learned to date through reading decades of work that we can now build upon together. And we also want to secure from you, the citizens, how you would like to be involved as you guide the project going forward. Noting that this is just the first of many events, and that this is the beginning point for citizens to really get involved again in the contemporary way. And of course, with the energy of a canoe race as our motivation. Gook, go. There is a quote at the bottom from Lucy Wren from an elders gathering in 1998. Be strong for the sake of our children. You have a lot of children following you. It is up to us as parents to pass on the language, like the way it was done a long time ago. So in closing, one primary objective of today's session was to ask you, the nation citizens, how you would like to guide the project process, including how you would like to participate, how often you would like to participate, how do you think we should communicate and inform the communities about the project, and any other things you would like us to consider that you haven't heard today already mentioned. So we included this picture, and I'm so happy that Bess Cooley was able to stand up and show her sweater, because we did include that in the presentation. That is a historical picture, and it really means a lot to show how far we have come. We also included it because it stands for Atlin, Carcross, Teslin, but it also says act. Act now. The time is now. Today is the day. And in closing, the Dakh-Ka Nation, it just shows a graphic of our nations all together in the same circle, as we always have been, as we always will be.
Ms. Chish, thank you very much for that, Chantal. Thank you very much for that, Chantal. That was an excellent presentation there this morning. We do have handouts there for those that are in-house there that would like a copy of that as well. My apologies earlier there for, Carcross Tagish First Nation. I should have known better. I do want to always never forget that the Carcross Tagish First Nation. And then the folks in Atlin appreciate your participation there as well. Is there any questions, comments? It's interesting when we go through that presentation that we are related. You see how she signaled Blair to turn that slide. We all have to work together in conjunction to make this PowerPoint happen. But she just next slide. Right away, just the next slide. So we are one people. Chief Morris, comments?
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to acknowledge Gaston Dwayne Coyne, who is on the other side of the country. He's been one of the benefits of the technology today, Dwayne has been able, he's an executive council member, and he's been able to participate in the work that we have to do as an executive from the other side of Canada. And I just wanted to acknowledge his presence with us today as well. And just in talking about the youth and talking about the canoe concept of Guk. And just as a side note, I know that the RCMP are planning a canoe trip for their for young people in the Yukon from Whitehorse to Dawson, and I thought that this might be a good idea to bring forward to you for your consideration as the youth from all of the 3 of our nations to be able to get together and go down from the Teslin River here, down the Teslin River, and join up with them down by Hootalinqua and go proceed on to Dawson from there. That'd be such a neat event. So, Chish.
I'll open it up to the communities here. If there's any questions, comments, we'll start over in Atlin. Hello, Atlin at the Rec Center. Any questions, comments this morning on that presentation?
Hi, yes, we have a question. We have someone coming to the microphone.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. James Williams, Peter Dawes, my native name. I hear Chantal say that she might not know the history of our people. We have, I think, in our historical collection, stories of our elders who have talked. Maybe we can go back to that and learn from them. Stories that have been told by our elders that have long gone. Because even I don't know some of it. I've been told a lot. But we got to start doing these things so that we know what we're talking about. Not put somebody in there that doesn't. We can all learn to move forward. Because if we don't, we're just kidding ourselves. Because I know when Mother told me stories, she always said, you tell the story exactly the way I tell you it. You don't put no names, no nothing in there. And I often asked her, and I said, well, start putting names in there, you start lying about your culture. So we always got to remember that the stories that have been told and been recorded of our elders, tell it just the way you hear it. Maybe then we'll start become that united people that we want to be. I would love to see it happen. Because we can be that strong voice that we don't need the government to tell us this transboundary claim is going to happen. We could tell the government, we could settle it in our own way. We always have and we always will. That's, to me, that's part of what that nation building should come to, is what I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe somebody can correct me. But that's where I come from, is that we can be a strong nation as long as we're together. Not point fingers at Teslin, not point fingers at Carcross, or vice versa to everybody else, to Atlin. We got to be that one united nation that we say we want to be. And now is the time to do it. Goodness cheese.
Goodness cheese. Thank you very much, James. Really miss you guys over there, you know. So say hi to everybody. I really miss you guys, and I can't wait to get back so we can start visiting again. Is there anybody else in Atlin there for comments? If not, we'll move on to Carcross Tagish and open it up there.
No, there's no more question in Atlin.
Okay, goodness cheese, Atlin. Hello, Carcross Tagish. Any comments there?
We're unmuted here, so. Yeah. So you've got the mic there. Did you want to say hello?
They're on. Are they
Or
on?
unmuted?
Comments? Nope, good there. I'm sorry, Jess, I missed you. Who we have on Zoom?
But she's
Oh,
a
okay.
prostitute. What's going on here?
Ouch. We have Kashatahani, Linda Dixon on the Zoom there. If we could queue her up. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. I was trying to get it unmuted and it wasn't working. The monitor had to unmute me. Anyways, good morning. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. Glad to sign into the meeting. I'm looking forward to the day that we can actually all sit down around a campfire. I don't know, maybe roast a couple of hot dogs, have a barbecue. I think that's kind of the way things used to happen back in the day. We would all sit around and enjoy one another's company and have tea. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully this summer we can start to do that outside. I was running late this morning, so I just signed on about a half hour ago, 20 minutes ago. So I'm just trying to play catch up and listen to what is being chatted around the room about. And I do believe Mariah Benoit is also zoomed in. So I don't know if she, I think she was having technical difficulties also trying to sign in. So, and I'm just sending around the password right now to some of our citizens that are trying to sign in also. So anyways, looking forward to the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Sheesh. Thank you very much, Linda. Comments in here in Teslin? Yes, Martina. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello? Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Can't hear you.
Hello?
There we
Can
go.
you hear me now? Okay. Good morning, everyone. I just want to welcome our brothers and sisters from over the mountains to our homeland and here in Teslin. I think this is a great opportunity for our people and our young people. I wish more of our youth were here. I think it would be a great opportunity to welcome our students from the grade 9 level, maybe down here this afternoon. I know a lot of people aren't aware of this meeting in the community, so I think something this important should be well notified or whatever. But I'm just really thankful and really happy for this to be here. I missed the first gathering that happened. And I think it's really great that our nations are starting to work together. I remember growing up as a child and listening to Dakh-Ka and the stuff that we wanted to do. And now that I'm older and I'm sitting at this table, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to learn and to listen. In my lifetime, I've had many elders that have passed away who had a wealth of knowledge, you know, and I look at our upcoming elders, you know, like I look at my Uncle Richard, my clan leader, you know, I look at Eric, you know, and Sandy, you know, and Atlahash, and then Bessie and Anne, you know, I'm so thankful for all of us being here, you know, and our young people that are here too, you know, I thank Dylan and Catherine and Mary for being here as well. And, you know, I almost thought Chantel was gay to call this morning when I seen her, the eyes. But I just want to thank everybody for being here, you know, and this is really empowering for our people, especially for our nation. I look forward to the future for this. Ganachish.
Sheesh, thank you, Martina.
Thank you, Martina.
So not seeing any more questions, comments there on the presentation, but we, you know, how are we going to participate? How often are we going to participate? How do you think we should communicate and inform about the project and other things you would like us to consider? You know, these are the teams reaching out to you. We need some feedback from our citizens and those participants online. You know, and let's start building this so we can move things forward. So if there's no other, David?
Thank you very much, Bob. There was a general council meeting in the community of Teslin just this past weekend. And if Pearl Callahan is online, if she is in the Whitehorse office, I'd ask her to speak to the issue that she had raised. If she's not, then I would raise it here. So Pearl, are you there?
There's no Pearl Callahan online at this point?
No Pearl?
No.
Okay.
I see a hand waving in the background there. First we'll have the Carcross Hub and then we'll have the Jean-Paul Kayat group talk. So I see you there. Thank you.
Pardon me? Oh, hello, Atlin. There's Atlin. Anybody else?
Yes, we're here. We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay. I think we got our Zoom thing fixed here. We'll go back to Pembroke, Ontario. Hello, Mr. Dwayne Acoyne. Did you unmute? We can't hear you, Dwayne.
Hello.
There you are. There you are.
There I am. Masiti, Ctfn. Hello from Ontario. I just wanted to quickly say just how happy I am to see everyone coming together in person and virtually. I always go back to 2006, the Dakh-Ka Elders Gathering in Tasahini. 15 years ago, where they once again reminded us we're one nation, one people, and to work together as such. And I know there's a lot of elders who've passed on, but who are smiling today, seeing this work continue. Just wanted to say that in Teslin, our citizenship, there's about 1/3 of our citizens, including myself now, who don't currently live in the Yukon. And I know the same must be for Atlin and Carcross. So this technology is just a silver lining to this pandemic, that it's really expanded our ability to reach all our citizens, no matter where we live, and to include us in your business. And so I'd just like to thank you for setting this up virtually on behalf of myself and all of us who live across the country and across the world, all the inland Tlinkits, we're everywhere. The one recommendation I would give is that for any future engagements that we fully utilize Zoom, so that us online can fully participate as well. Just something to keep in mind for next time. Okay, Atlin to get you on.
Ms. Chief, thank you, Gaston. I believe we have question comments over Carcross Tagish. Cue them up. Hello.
There you go, Drew.
There you are.
Just right there. Can you see me? Okay, you just move back a little bit. And the speaker's right there. There you go.
Good morning, Carcross Tagish there. We got you. You have questions, comments?
Good morning. Shlaus. Deshitan, Ayahat. I just wanted to bring some focus towards a book that my grandmother, Angela Sidney, put out. And you can see the title here. You guys are all familiar with that, I guess, or maybe the younger ones need to know this information, right? That's why I decided to step forward and talk about it. In here, I looked up Dead Wolf because somebody was asking for that translation. But there's only two people recorded here that had that name, Billy Bone and Jeffrey Williams. So if anybody knew them or related to them, maybe they know the translation, but it's not in here. There's other books also that Grandma put together. I think there was 8 in total. And this other one is Tagish Stories, Tagish Stories. And then this one here, Skookum Jim, is all the recordings of Skookum Jim and how he got his luck. He was given luck because of his personal actions helping the animal kingdom. But you guys all know those stories, you know, we just need to recall them. You know, our history goes back to 1492 and how our culture has been pushed aside. And I'm Tlingit on both sides too, you know, and my dad is Teltan and also Tlingit from Wrangell. We all know that. We also know that the Teltan, Casca, and Carcross Tagish border this whole area, and some of it's in Atlin. So we have this, they call it, the government calls it, you know, cross borders and all these other names. But the thing is, this whole area was Dene land, still is really, but you know, it's all settlement now, broken up into settlement land. And we're all trying to live with that and in a good way, because I mean, we're all related. I'm related to half the people in Teslin. You guys know that. And same thing with Atlin. There's people there that I'm related to, you know, so we really need to focus on not just reconciliation, but history, truth, you know, and so there's a lot of information about all of that. One thing that I was really noticing this morning right off the start was everyone refers to this area as Carcross, you know, and I know that you're meaning the whole area, Whitehorse and Squanga and all that, but just to say Carcross is, I think is ignoring some really important people, you know, our late Art Johns for one. You know, he has Tlingit blood too from Atlin. My mom is a Tlingit speaker. You guys hire her all the time, and yet, and she lives in Tagish. Mariah lives in Tagish. Mark lives in Tagish. And I do know this is part of your history learning, revitalization for lots of us, us older people. And the first clan house was in Tagish, and the Dakh-Ka now, Norman James is wishing and hoping that we're going to get the clan house, the Dakh-Ka clan house, reestablished in Tagish. And we started our Deshitan rebuilding in Tagish some years back, you know, but the funds never did get appropriated and so forth. We started building it ourselves, donations of lumber, energy, all that, but it never did take off. And so we have a building half built. in Tagish, Clan House, you know, so there's a lot of history. So please come forward to, you know, my mom and Annie and all of us who still have our history, and let's, yes, let's rebuild these nations, right? Because like I said, we are all related, but don't forget some of us, okay, in your negotiations and your talks, because it's really important. And enough of this segregating and all these things that we might have learned from, you know, since 1492, because we, like Sam Johnson has said different times, we can't just blame the residential school. It started way before that, right? Thank you for listening to me. Ms. Cheesh, Medu, Sogas in law.
Ms. Cheesh, thank you very much. Chantel?
Thank you very much for those comments. We really appreciate the feedback that we're receiving. In the PowerPoint presentation that we just did, we talked about the resolution that the three leaders of our respective nations and the encouragement they provided for us to focus on those 5 topic areas: wildlife, boundaries, economic development, language and culture, and legislation. So what you're not hearing in that is the history that was already done. So all of that stuff you're talking about, those cultural stories, the knowledge, the where we got here, what those boundaries are, the people who are included in all of the shared territory that we're discussing. All of those pieces, the historical work that was done, is going to be used to help support the work that we're doing in a contemporary setting. We keep hearing the same topics come up as the priority areas of interest from our people, and that also includes treaty making. It includes the shared territory, so we say boundaries, but it's also the shared territory, right? So where are the boundaries? What are they? And that's a part of the negotiations that each of the lead negotiators will be involved in. None of that work can go forward without the community's involvement and without direction from the communities and the leadership. So that is ultimately one of our goals. The outcome we want to see is that our nations are no longer segregated. I really appreciated the use of that term because that's what's happened. And so one of the main goals of nation rebuilding is to remove that segregation so that we are working together and using all of the available tools, mechanisms, and opportunities that are here right now today so that we can help solve some of those issues. And all of that work, the history and the knowledge, the traditions, the culture, how we got here and what people are involved in what areas, all of that stuff is really, really crucial. And that's part of the reason why we continue to come back to the community. What can you tell us about how we can move forward in the best way possible? So Ganesh Sheesh for those comments.
Ms. Cheesh, thank you very much for that. And if there's no further questions, comments on that presentation there, we'll move on to the Gunta community engagement there with Gunta. Jess, anybody else online there? And one other thing there, if I could ask you too, Jess and team, is if you guys could get me up a list here of all our participants on the Zoom. I'd like to see, and then I'd like to share that with people who's all participating online. So that's coming. I'll bring that to you. And so if there's nothing else, we will move on to the community engagement. We're running a little behind, but we're catching up quite nicely. So Jean-Paul out in Atlin, you had your hand up there before. Do a final call there, if the Atlin Rec Center, if they have any questions, comments before we move on. Good golly, I'm gray. You know, every time I look at that TV, it's like, holy, you're old. Oh. Hello. Yes, we can see you, Vernon Williams. I can't hear Vernon. Do they have to unmute something in their fort? I can see a brother, but I can't. We'll have to work on that technical issue there. Okay. We'll get them to call in. While we're waiting for that, we want to move into the community engagement, and I can come back to them for comments after. And while we're waiting for that. Oh, Vernon.
Bob.
Hello,
Hi,
brother.
Bob. Can you hear me now?
You betcha.
Without.
Hello. Can you guys hear me now?
You betcha.
I would like to say again, ministries to all the nations gathering here today to discuss the very importance on our land that we all share. One of the big concerns that I have is the cemetery that we have at Lake Labarge that has a lot of our names up there. How does that cross our territories and that we share our territories with the people up around Lake Labarge? I know there's a lot of Tlingit names in that cemetery. And I'm wondering, you know, we always put our people to rest. And when we give our names to somebody to hold until we can pass it down to somebody that's similar to that name. There's a lot of names and a lot of history that's at Lake Labarge. And like some of the people were talking about earlier on that there was no overlapping in our territory. We're all recognized as one big nation. But to me, it puzzles me when we put our people to rest and we have graveyards all over our territories. How come that doesn't fall into our history on our land? You know, because most of our Tlingit names go with us when we pass until we give our names to somebody who is similar to me. And one thing, Bob, I would like to tell you that my name is Dachau. I believe me and you share that name. So my brother's name is, I think his Mervyn is a little different. But again, you know, I'm really glad that we're all sharing this knowledge so we can correct each other as nations on how we can gather our strength together as one to make us stronger. Because again, other nations that have settled land claims, they're showing us the way they're being treated and the way they're going on their being their own governments on their land. They're helping us because we never settled our land claims yet. And we're participating in lots of stuff so we could share this land that we treasure so much and that it overlaps on each other. So going back to that graveyard, I'm wondering if we trust a nation to build our graveyard on their territory or not. I'm just wondering on how that graveyard got up there at one time and how our names got left up there. With that, again, I want to say good to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Dayak. Does anybody have some history about that? We can look into that and maybe bring some information back later on. Mr. Blair Hogan.
Hello. So I was just asked to talk a little bit about some of the community engagement that we're looking to plan to bring the nations together in these ways. So this is our first public house where we're really opening up the barn doors and saying, we're at the beginning, we're really looking for your input, feedback, ideas, suggestions. We don't have it all planned out. We just kind of have basic ideas what we want. We know we want to do an elders youth gathering in the summer, but we want to know, some other suggestions on what could be done at these types of gatherings, some of the things that we could focus on. That's the really important feedback. For people on the app, anything you type into that little chat box, we're collecting that. It'll be brought into our process. Anybody in Zoom, you could type in the chat box, we're collecting that. And so anytime as well in the weeks and months leading after this, any ideas that you have, any resources, any pictures, any videos, we're spending a lot of time just trying to collect and organize these really beautiful pieces of stories and language and culture that represent the inland Tlingit. So just to put that out there, we're going to be hosting another large event like this, actually a couple of them, where we're hoping to bring everybody together and have these pockets of virtual connectivity. But there's also smaller events. There's a lot of things that we want to be a part of and to bring together, if Hakusti'i moves forward. I know there's a lot of questions about that, but we want to embed right in there, be part of it, support it, make it better through the process that we're a part of. And, I think if we succeed as part of your engagement team, people will be celebrating, coming together. People will be getting excited about their language, about their art, their culture, about the land. And technology can be limiting, but we're trying to be more flexible as your technology providers to be out on the land with you broadcasting. These are things that we're focused on and helping, but we're here to hear what you guys want. So as best and as easiest to send that to us and anybody on the team or your steering committee members, that's great. That'll be key for us. Good, Chish, thank you so much.
Chish, thanks, Blair. And that's something where, that kind of rolls us into our community or our citizens open forum, and what do you want to see happen? How do you want to see, what is any suggestions you might have that you can offer to the team here of how we can stronger get engaged? And, I'll be reaching out to you guys, and I'm going to come back and ask you, Anne, if you have any suggestions. Jesse, we had somebody online there. I can't quite always hear this piece in my ear, so while we're checking there online, we got an Atlin hub there. Hello, Atlin. I don't know if we're going to the rec center or leadership room. The rec center.
Yeah, someone is coming in the chair.
I missed the rec center. Hey, Ali.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shirati, and I'm 70 years old. I belong to the Wolf Clan, and I worked for TRT for about 25 years, and I'm wondering, my biggest question was, are those overlap boundaries really necessary? If we are going to consider ourselves as one, that's the number one step, I would think. And I keep thinking about the 1998 Elders Gathering in Dakh-Ka, and they only had 3 words for us. It was just do it. And we're still trying to do it. I think it has a lot to do with trusting each others. I heard that a lot from my brother Richard. When you have trust, you honor one another, you have faith in one another, you have hope in one another, you can rely on one another. And I think about the elder that we just lost. For about a week, I kept telling myself, geez, I want to go see Lorraine. I want to go see Lorraine. I gotta go see Lorraine. And then the morning came, I heard she was gone. And that brings me back to the 3 words that our elders say. Just do it. Don't take time to think about it, because by the time you finish thinking about it, you don't have the energy to do it. And I keep going back to the elders gathering in 1998 because I know this COVID pandemic has brought even each First Nations further apart. Like in Atlin, we can't visit unless it's our immediate family. Well, some of us have such small families. I feel for those people that have small families and that can't get out of the house to go to work. All those elders stuck. I'm fortunate enough that I came to again and I quit drinking, and now that gets me out of the house because I'm back at work. I'm helping out in Capital, straightening out all their things, but which other elders have this opportunity to get out of the house and see people? You know, we can have elders gathering with COVID regulations followed to the T, Tlingit. We just have to figure out where, when, why, because the elders need it. I know I'm feeling better. I'm healing a little faster because I get out of the house and see people. And I'm filing. I must walk at least 5 miles a day. But that's helping me to heal. And even if for those elders and people that don't drink, walking is the best. And, you know, we could get the elders together and just have them do exercises together. We don't have to always sit and talk. We could sew together, knit together, talk together, show each other's videos, show each other's pictures. And of course, the bottom line is planning. But when did we stop listening to our elders? Was it Sylvester Jack's era? Or over in Teslin, when did you guys still listen to your elders? Do you have somebody go and check in on your elders? You say the most important part of each First Nation is the elders and the children. Well, what are we doing to support them? I would like to thank everybody that is involved today. And I often wondered whatever happened to Dakh-Ka. You know, the last I ever heard of Dakh-Ka was when people were talking about buying Jake's Corner. And how many years ago was that? It's like, it's falling through the cracks, just like our culture, just like our language. Our social programs office is so far off on a beeline that they're not concentrating on culture anymore. Because there's no Tlingit people working there or not enough. I don't know if the same situation is in any place else, but. And then when they have meetings like this, I heard my granddaughter saying that the people out there suffering really don't have time for things like this. So how do we help our people to heal? I know for me, it was like mind over matter and I just quit, but it was the second time. But I know for a fact that not all our people are strong. My mother brought every one of my brothers and myself up, and we all lived to adulthood. My sisters lived to 30 years old. My youngest brother now is 64. But where does that kind of strength come from? Where can we dish it out? We have to be able to give our people some kind of strength, hope, faith in the system that you're trying to build. You know, you cannot. I really like this virtual meeting, but then again, I really think about the people that can't even afford to pay their electricity, let alone have internet. There's going to be some answers to everything that I just mentioned. And I hope somebody's taking minutes besides the video. And I would just like to thank you. And for that, I would like to sing my song that I gave to Carcross, but I sing this one every day anyway. Gunta we love you more each day. We love you more in every way. Gunta for giving us a soul, to help us reach our goal. Thank you, everybody.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Ali. Big virtual hug all the way from Teslin. Mr. David Keenan.
Thank you. Thank you very much for what you brought to us. This is exactly what we needed to hear. And thank you so much for having the courage to bring forth what you said. There are many, many things that you brought forth, and I very much appreciate how you did it and the elegance of which you brought your concerns. And you are truly being listened to. You will truly be listened to, and you will see actions that come from here. We're in a healing mode now, our nation. Our elders have directed us to move, and we know where we want to move. We're just touching bases with people and our citizens. And that's exactly what we need to do at this point. We need to see if this is where we're going is the right way. And we need to say to ourselves that this is the right way and have the courage and the trust in one another to be able to hear and to listen to one another and to be able to carry one another when you cannot carry yourself or you cannot represent yourself. That's what it's all about. And at home here, we do say, and have we said for many years and generations, that not one of us is disposable, not one of us. We each have a need for one another. We need to support one another. And when we cannot support one another for whatever reasons, you must feel assured that you're being carried and you're being paid attention to. What we really, really need and what we're focusing on now is what you're bringing forward. We need to reestablish those traditional roles of an elder. An elder should never feel lonely. When they should be surrounded by their grandchildren, there's a natural connection from them. You're bringing the culture together, you're bringing your language, you're bringing your traditional practices of how you support, and it's a family unit. And that's reconciliation, and that's what we all need to do. So feel free to bring these issues forward. And as we work with one another and the nation comes together, we're going to be building structures and services that we would be able to work with one another and do it as one unit, as we should be doing that. So it's establishing those traditional roles, the roles of the youth, the roles of the elders, the roles of the leadership, and the roles of each other to really learn to love and to respect and to trust one another. And I can remember those days when John Ward speaks about coming down, traveling down and just seeing one another. And his parents and himself might have been quiet, but they lived within Hakus Iyi, the means of it. And many of our elders lived in that traditional way. So it's not the loudest voice or the squeakiest wheel. It's us as a civilization and where we're going to go together and be distinct as to who we are. So thank you very much for having the courage and for ending it with such a beautiful song.
Thank you, David. We're going to go to Carcross Tagish. There's a comment, Jessica. Hello.
Over right there.
Hello again. Sorry about that. I just wanted to add, Vernon, when he did such an eloquent discussion, brought up some things that I think are really important too for our heritage. And we all know about this too, but we should get it recorded, for our young people, for our coming generations, because that's what we're supposed to do. Idle no more. They stood up across Canada and said that they want their history. They want their traditional knowledge. And it's our generations that is responsible for doing that, because our elders are leaving us, and a lot of us have that information stored up here, and we need to say it. We need to tell it. Make sure it's recorded, because we were trusted with that information. Vernon was talking about cemeteries and why there's so many Tlingit names recorded there. But when we study that, there's Denke names there. Denke is Dene when you say it in the Tagish language. And there's all kinds of Dene people. Dene people were here since time began. We have stories that talk about that in these books. It's all recorded, and lots of CYFN recordings. And when we're doing negotiations, I was on the committee there with Gail Anderson and Paul Burkle, and that's what we did. Verbatim notes of stories and what our negotiators were asking for. And, it was from personal knowledge. What we ended up was way different, because government stepped in and they said that we weren't entitled to this or that or the other thing. And that's a very big part of our history as well, is how we got divided up into 14 First Nations and said, like it or lump it, and we looked very different before that. And we all know that, really, and we need to pass that information on. For more information about Dene people being here since time began, all you need to do is read the Game Mother story and different things like that, or listen to people talking in Northwest Territories or Northern Alaska. They all have the same stories about us. And to do with volcanoes, there was a recent it's a story, but a presentation recently about volcanoes and how it affected Yukon people, our ancestors. And, you know, there's Dene people all over the Yukon, as I said, but there's some that also migrated to Navajo country because of the volcanoes, you know, and that's another part of big part of our history. We didn't all go. You know, there's some mistakes, like in Wikipedia, for instance. If you look up Wikipedia and ask about Tagish people, one section says that the Dene people all left because of the volcanoes, and they all moved to Navajo country. Well, you know, that's really not true, because I have Dene blood. A lot of people have Dene blood in the Yukon and BC and everywhere, you know. So so there's some things that really need to be corrected, and I think to help do that is place names. You know, every place has place names. Like I was saying earlier, Nasatlin is a Tagish word, you know, and you know, I think that some acknowledgement of the original first people needs to happen. And Tagish Dene Athabaskan, some say Athabaskan, but our elders have said we can't use that word because it's a colonized word. They want us to use Dene, and when you say that in Tagish, it's Dinke. And so I think we need to respect that part of our heritage as well. I mean, we heard earlier from our speaker, McGill, or maybe it was Eric Morse. One of them said that, you know, the Tlingit people moved in the mid 1800s, and we know that too. So we're going to claim this land as ours, yes, and we all have Dene blood. So we need to be accurate, because the government people don't know this history, and so they're trying to take land bit by bit all the time. But you know, we can claim it back by having real history. And thank you for that. Thanks.
Ms. Georgiana Lowe, thank you very much. You know, we're just starting to get into some really good conversation here, and I really don't want to close this session off. You know, we have lunch ready. Lunch has been ready here. Our cooks worked very hard to get a piping hot lunch ready for you. And I would like to take a lunch break and carry on this discussion after lunch. And
Aren't we going into another session after lunch?
yes. So, but we'll carry on. We'll carry on this after lunch, and I'll explain it to you guys there during the lunch break. And then we have our virtual prize winners here. I need to know who is Teslin on-site winner. This is number 16. You guys were all handed out a number here earlier. Whoever is holding the lucky number 16, you are the winner. I think a $250 Visa gift card. Our virtual prize winner is out there in the Zoom land, is Brenda Reeves. And they surveyed all the hubs there, the Atlin hub, the Carcross Tagish hub, and the Whitehorse hub. And then our third prize winner, a $50 gift card for the furthest from Teslin, is Mr. Dwayne Acoyne. So will be another round of door prizes this afternoon. I thank you guys so much for your patience this morning. And like I mentioned, we are just getting into some really good discussion. So I'd like to bring this up again this afternoon. Hopefully we only need like a 40-minute lunch, if that works for folks, and we could get going again here at 1 o'clock. If that's okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good lunch break. How many caribou we killed on the vehicle? 1:30? I'm told we have to wait till 1:30, so we'll call her back at 1:30. So lunch is served, and thank you very much for Mike Meskel and team for lunch today. Ouch.